This is a brunch pre-Oscars mini podcast. It contains spoilers, but we can't imagine you care. If you haven't seen the movie and you're afraid of spoilers, there's no way you would logically seek out a podcast about the movie. Let us begin. Little Women.
Little Women.
Little Women 2019 is the sixth feature film adaptation of Little Women. I had to look that up because everybody says, well, did you see the other ones? In it, Saiorse Ronan reprises her role as lead in a Greta Gerwig film. She's joined by Dern, Florence Pugh, and Emma Watson. The film also features Bob Odenkirk as the man, Timothée Chalamet as the boy, and Mamma Mia, Donna Sheridan herself, Meryl Streep as the mean old aunt.
Yes.
Is that what she's
The only
that's what
problem
she's
that I
doing?
have with your little synopsis there
Okay.
is you call Bob Odenkirk the man. Mm-hmm. Two men in this movie. And you picked the wrong one. Chris Cooper is the other man, and he was fantastic in this movie.
Chris Cooper being the husband of... Oh, no,
The
Chris
neighbor.
Chris Cooper, like old-ass Chris Cooper.
Old-ass Chris Cooper, the man.
Yes, Chris Cooper is in this.
Yep.
So...
Maybe he can be the old man.
Okay.
Chris Cooper as the old man, Bob Odenkirk as the man, Timothy Chalamet, almost called him Timothy Olyphant, as the boy.
Okay, well then, on the subject of objecting to Bob Odenkirk stuff, were you at all distracted by Bob Odenkirk in this movie?
Absolutely.
Because everyone
Yes.
I know who saw this movie's first note was, I was just so distracted by Bob Odenkirk.
So distracted by
I
him.
didn't want to be, and my answer whenever people asked me that was, no, why wouldn't he be in it? And I started doing like the Adam Sandler Connect thing. I was like, why can't Bob Odenkirk has shown he's got dramatic chops? He can do
Odenkirk
this.
can absolutely
He
be
can
in this movie.
Like, what's your fucking problem? But then the
Absolutely.
more I think of it, I'm like,
Did it need to be Bob
it's Bob
Odenkirk? Yeah. It's just like, I have no problem with him being in the movie or acting. It's just like I was totally not expecting him to show up in this movie. And he just added, he didn't really add anything to the dynamic of like the story other than just being the dad.
so when we say Bob Odenkirk has chops, he could do this role. As I think about it, like, I could do that role. That's like you just walk in, you're
This
like,
role?
oh,
Absolutely.
my
Yes.
girls. And then a bunch of people
I'm
run over and
home.
pretend to like you.
And then just eat dinner for the rest of the movie. That's all he did.
And I'm pretty sure music was playing over that scene, so you don't even need to be nailing your lines or
You
anything.
can basically just be the guy from the whatever it is, the Allstate commercial where they just dub over his bad acting.
Yeah.
Why not?
So, anyway, other nominations for this movie include Best Supporting Actor, Bob Odenkirk.
Yes.
What
you wanna
do
just
we
make
think
it-
what do we think his chances are?
It would be funny if our Little Women review was just completely Bob Odenkirk related.
Well, we can do it now.
We're in the driver's seat here.
Exactly. Okay, so Bob Odenkirk in this movie is kind of like Jimmy Hoffa in The Irishman, where
He doesn't show up.
he doesn't show up till like halfway through the movie, and you're like, yo, is Little Women about a guy or what? Where the hell is this guy? We're waiting for him the whole time. And then when he comes in, he gives everybody a big hug. And I'm trying to think, as hugs go, this past year, Peanut Butter Falcon,
Yeah,
that's a good hug.
great hug.
What are other good hugs this year?
Achievement and hugging.
Scarlett Johansson, Marriage Story, when she calls over to the kid when he drops him off after he'd been out all day with the kid just trying to find a freaking lawyer, and the kid wants nothing to do with it.
I gotta say, Scarlett Johansson is involved in the hug of the year, but it's not in Marriage Story. It's in Jojo Rabbit.
When does she hug somebody?
He hugs her legs.
That's right. That's a good hug, bruv. That's a really good hug.
That's a really devastating hug, but that could be the hug of the year.
I was just thinking there was another good hug in Marriage Story. Oh, a good hug is shared by Laura Dern, who's also in Little Women, and Ray Liotta before the courtroom scene. These two monsters of lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
She sees that, I forget his name, but what's Ray Liotta's name in the movie?
I have no idea.
He's got some like, oh no, she hired like
This guy.
Jay something.
Yeah.
Let's look it up because it's important. Ray Liotta, Marriage Story character. He plays
Jay Murata.
Jay Murata. Pretty good memory.
Not to be
Dave.
confused with Jay
Mariotti.
Mariotti, who has also been involved in a lot of court things.
Right. And Ray Liotta kind of looks like Jay Mariotti in this movie. But when they see each other at the courthouse, she is like, oh no, it's Jay. Fuck, like this is going to be an absolute street fight now. And she walks over, just classic lawyer shit. Walks over, Jay, how are you? Oh, what's her name? I don't know anybody's name in this movie. He like they hug, and it's just like this very superficial. He says they're having a stand up to cancer event. John Legend's going to be there, and they're like, "Oh, we love John Legend. Oh, he's so great. Okay, see you then. You're looking so great." Cut to minute and a half later, they are so fucking mean to each other and their clients in that courtroom.
Should we just plot twist right now and review Marriage Story?
I got Marriage Story notes.
Yeah, same, because we're reviewing that next. But no, with this one, I didn't think that Laura Dern was great in this movie.
Laura Dern wasn't as crucial. And
Right.
Laura Dern has reached a point in her career where, honestly, this is going to sound sacrilegious. I was talking about Jurassic Park with someone the other day, and they were like, well, call me Laura Dern because blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, right, I forgot Laura Dern's in Jurassic Park. Like, I don't even need Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
I didn't know that for the longest time. Like
That's like a young Laura Dern?
I grew up on the streets not knowing that was Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
You had probably 2
She
years
became
of
a star.
childhood before IMDb, right?
Yes, yeah. She became a star in her own right for me.
I mean, at some point, we've talked about this with some actors where you're like, how did Meryl Streep become Meryl Streep? How did it just become like, oh my God, that's Meryl Streep? And then you think of the movies she's in, and you're like, yeah, like Kramer versus Kramer, who cares?
Yeah.
But then once they're in enough stuff, they just
there.
have this legend status, and Laura Dern is that. And now when she's in something, it's like, watch the hell out. This movie has Laura Dern, and it's such a feather in that film's cap that it has Laura Dern. I agree with you. She doesn't make or break this movie. Mm-hmm. Somebody else could have played that role, because this is a movie that's carried by Bob Odenkirk, Florence Pugh, Saoirse Ronan, all these heavy hitters. Mm-hmm. And if the mom were the big takeaway in Little Women, then this would have been a poorly executed Little Women, because you want Amy to be popping off. You want Saoirse Ronan's character to be popping off. You want some flirtation going on with Chalamet. And you got all those things. Mm-hmm. This was a very charming, very well-executed movie. As I said off the top, I hadn't seen any of the other 5 feature film versions of this, so maybe my opinion would be a bit different, because a lot of people who have seen them said, yeah, it's great, but you've just seen it before, and it didn't do that much stuff different. I believe the end of this one
is a little different. Yeah.
She makes it, she sells out.
She sells out, but like in sort of her own way, because like she still wins, even though she sells out. She sacrifices a little bit, but still like maintains her morals and sort of wins out in her own way. And I like that. I think it's a nice little touch, and it's like a tribute to Louisa May Alcott and what she was able to do with Little Women, the book itself.
And I mean, I don't want to define feminism, but being able to pull one over on somebody and charge it to like, you know what? No, I'm gonna
line your pockets in the process.
Right. I'm gonna take. You want to be a sucker here? I'm gonna take every penny I can get out of it. So,
yeah, I think that was like for me. I'd seen the early 2000s Little Women. It's not super fresh in my head, but I do remember. Like, I definitely like this one more. Kirsten Dunst, I believe, is in that as well.
That's Romeo and Juliet.
Yes, that's no. Actually, that's Save the Last Dance.
I didn't think there was an early 2000s one. Wasn't there a 90s one?
Let's check it out.
I looked it up. A list of all Little Women adaptations. Got it here. 1949 one. Is that what you're talking about? 1994.
1994. Winona Ryder, Kirsten Dunst, Christian Bale.
A very young Kirsten Dunst. Is she playing Beth?
I don't remember who she plays, but I remember seeing that one. That's the one that I is Susan Sarandon in that one too?
It's Susan Sarandon. That's
a pretty stacked
Winona
cast.
Ryder. That's Kirsten Dunst is Amy. That's a really young Amy. So maybe she's only in it for a second. Christian Bale was Laurie.
Interesting.
And it says, and Gabrielle Byrne was Professor Bear, Exclamation point. I got to say, pbs.org. I'm not as excited about that as you because I don't really know who that is. But
I think it's the next door neighbor.
But I don't know who Gabriel Byrne is.
Oh, me neither.
Let's see who Gabriel Byrne is.
Yeah, so I'd seen the 94 one, apparently. Since
I know
94.
this guy. Gabriel Byrne.
Who is he?
He's an Irish actor, film director, film producer, writer, cultural ambassador, and audiobook narrator.
Okay, cool. I'd seen the 94 one. I like this one better for sure. It's a lot more charming. There are a lot of the same things. Like I remember watching this one. It kind of brought back some of the nostalgia from the older one that I had forgotten about. But this one, I think, will hold up way better because it's just a better movie.
When's someone going to make a real modern version of it? Because they keep making the same version of it that took place,
True.
I don't know, at least 20 years ago. And
like the 1994 the Le Mans.
Right.
Like in Ford versus Ferrari.
So in the Ford vs. Ferrari review, I said 1996 instead of 1966. Pete didn't catch it until after. I didn't catch it as I was saying it. And then after, Pete went and checked, like, wait, that took place in 1996? That movie's so much worse than... They didn't know how to do anything with cars. They could have just gone and bought like a cool Corvette or something.
The owner of Ford was like had to get a call from Le Mans or Daytona to find out who won.
Or yeah, it's like log on, bro.
Just go on America Online. I'm sure the results are out there somewhere. But no, I was very confused, and they were drinking like Coke from the glass bottles.
A bunch of Renaissance men. Where did this leave you in terms of Gerwig, Ronan, Chalamet fatigue? I thought that they all killed it in this, and I think it is a great send-off for them to take a little break. No?
No, I'm good. I love Gerwig. She doesn't need to go anywhere for me.
No, I love all. I love
you
Gerwig and Ronan.
You don't love Chalamet.
I don't. I for sure don't love Chalamet. I loved him in this, but I want them to take a break from each other, I'm saying. I want Gerwig to put out a movie every year. I want Saoirse Ronan to put out a movie every 2 years. I think that we've seen enough coming-of-age films starring Saoirse Ronan. This is now reaching the Octavia Spencer Best Supporting Actress kind of thing of, okay, Saoirse, I know that you can knock a coming-of-age film out of the park. Let's have you do like a...
That's fine. Like, I would like to see her do something a little bit more like...
Have you seen Brooklyn?
No.
Okay, so I feel like you'll share my perspective if you see Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a coming-of-age film starring Saoirse Ronan that is so much better than any of the other Saoirse Ronan coming-of-age films. And I think that... And they were before a lot of these. It was before Lady Bird. Mm-hmm. It was before this.
People went nuts over Lady Bird. Brooklyn was well received though too.
People went cuckoo over Brooklyn. Let me see who do. Maybe it's because Gerwig wasn't involved in.
So the difference there for that question for me is that Ronan seems to always be working with Gerwig, and like that's fine because they always knock it out of the park together. But I want to see Ronan do more with other people.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's like I don't have that issue with Timothée Chalamet because Chalamet is doing a lot of other side work all over the place.
Right. So what I'm saying is Gerwig, work with other people. Ronan, work with other people. Chalamet, just do whatever. You're gonna do what you want anyway. Brooklyn, directed by John Crowley. I'm not seeing any Gerwig here, but that's a great movie. I prefer it to Lady Bird. I prefer it to Little Women.
Chalamet, by the way, has a movie coming up with Wes Anderson, and he's also playing Bob Dylan in the Bob Dylan biopic.
Is Chalamet in... Who's in a horror movie? Oh, no, that's Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard, yep.
Finn Wolfhard. Little Women.